There are a few rules I've followed in my life that have helped me with everything from my career and fitness goals to my relationships and mental health. And they might help you as well. These are 10 rules that changed my life. Starting with rule number 1, it's better to be an hour early than a minute late. I remember back when I was in college, I was chronically late to everything. Classes, events, birthday parties, you name it. I used to think if I have a meeting at 2 p.m. and Google Maps tells me it's gonna take 15 minutes to get there, I better leave at 1:45 p.m. at the latest. But what about the time it takes to get to your car, the traffic along the way, finding parking, walking from your car, and all the small unexpected things that sometimes interrupt our days? The problem is that when you're late, you're sending a message that you don't respect people's time, that you're unreliable, and you generally don't have your shit together. And in a professional setting, that's gonna seriously limit your potential. And in a personal setting, it's just plain rude. And the thing is, it's really not that difficult to show up on time. The solution? Plan for buffer time and double the amount of time you think it'll take to get to your appointments. And if you happen to get there a little bit early, well, that's better than being a minute late. Rule number 2, move before you're motivated. Too often we wait for motivation to strike. Whether we want to pick up a fitness habit or start a new side project, we think we need to feel fired up to begin. And while sometimes that strategy might work, most often we'll be waiting a really, really long time to get started. As author Robert McCain says, the common misconception is that motivation leads to action, but the reverse is true. Action precedes motivation. You have to prime the pump and get the juices flowing. No matter the change you're looking to make in your life, the only thing you need to get started is the first step. That small step turns into another, and then another. And it won't take long for the momentum to build, and before you know it, you're motivated. This might sound corny, but sometimes when I'm really doubting myself or when I feel like I need a boost of confidence, I'll crank up the tunes and dance around my house like a madman. Whether I'm trying to build confidence or shake off some anxiety, 9 times out of 10, I'll see a significant shift in my mindset and mood by doing this. You can wait around to get motivated, or you can get moving. Rule number 3, if it won't matter in 5 years, don't spend more than 5 minutes worrying about it. Humans are wired to worry. According to one study in the UK, 86% of people consider themselves worriers. And on average, people spend 1 hour and 50 minutes worrying each day. And a lot of this worrying is about the most insignificant things. Did I forget to send that email? Is it gonna rain during my golf trip? Am I gonna make it home in time to watch Married at First Sight Australia? This is where the 5x5 rule comes in. Coined by writer James Altucher, this is the philosophy that if something won't matter in 5 years, you shouldn't spend more than 5 minutes worrying about it. It's really about gaining perspective, like looking up at the stars, out into the forest, or deep into Morgan Freeman's eyes. It's a simple yet effective guideline for letting go of things that aren't important. Because let's face it, there are few things that will actually matter in 5 years. And even for those things, you might ask yourself, is worrying helping? It's usually not. Rule number 4, never go to bed angry. This is a classic rule that you've probably heard of already, but it's been a complete game changer for my relationship. Nat and I have a great relationship, but we still have our disagreements. Many of them tend to happen later in the evening when our willpower has been depleted and we're feeling a little less patient. But we've never once gone to bed in the middle of a fight. The problem with going to bed angry is that you're allowing resentment to build. It might seem small in the moment, but if you let resentment linger for too long, it'll create cracks in the foundation of your relationship. But this rule is easier said than done. When tempers are high and you've got an early wake-up time, how do you actually resolve conflicts efficiently?
Who is she?
What are you talking about?
You cheated on me in my dream.
It was your dream.
For Nat and I, we found that the key is to really listen to each other and most importantly, to understand where they're coming from. You don't have to go to bed on the same exact terms. You might still disagree with each other, but you should understand where the other person is coming from, show them respect, and let them know that you love them. When someone believes that they've truly been heard, it's far less likely to escalate, and you're more likely to get a good night's sleep.
Technically, your subconscious cheated on yourself. You're like, well, checkmate. You got me.
Rule number 5, never use 2 words when one will do. This rule, which was first coined by Thomas Jefferson way back in 1814, has made a huge impact on my professional career. Writing is one of the most fundamental skills that crosses almost every profession. Whether you're writing an email, a report, or a YouTube video, writing is how we communicate with others. It could be 1-to-1 or it could be 1 to 1 million. The skill translates across projects, careers, and industries. And the heart of this rule is really about being an effective communicator. Lazy people write long emails. They go on and on, circling around the same point, going off on a stream of consciousness. Why? because it's quicker and easier than spending 20 minutes editing a short email that gets right to the point. Author of Jurassic Park, Michael Crichton, once said, "Books aren't written, they're rewritten, including your own. It is one of the hardest things to accept, especially after the 7th rewrite hasn't quite done it. No one's first draft is ever final. So take the time to choose your words carefully and give more intention to everything that you write." The best way to be understood, or even to reach millions of people, is to say what you need to say in as few words as possible. And now I want to put this rule into practice with my Squarespace sponsorship to see if I can say everything that I love about Squarespace in 45 seconds. Starting now. So 10 years ago, when I first started freelancing, I decided to build a website. And after a long search looking at different hosting platforms and backend solutions, I decided to go with Squarespace. And I'm so glad that I did. Here's why. Their website builder is really easy to use and effortless to customize. You can select from a range of beautiful templates, add your branding, and publish your website in no time. You can easily add new content, pages, and blog posts. No need to stress out about confusing technical backend stuff. It's so intuitive a baby could do it. Okay, maybe not a baby, but you get the idea. Crap, I'm breaking the rule. And you can buy domains and set up your G Suite email accounts directly through Squarespace. All of these features combined means that I can come up with an idea and publish it within a couple of days, and I can easily update it whenever I need to. From websites and online stores to marketing tools and analytics, Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence and run your business. Go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/MattDiavella to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com/MattDiavella. Wow, look at that, just in time. Thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. If you want to get started building your website today, use the link down in the description below this video. And now on to rule number 6. I think I'll slow down for this one. Learn to laugh at yourself. If there's one thing I learned from 8 Mile, it's that if you want to be successful and make friends, you need to be able to laugh at yourself. I also learned that you should never eat your mom's spaghetti before a rap battle spaghetti. Here in Australia, they call it taking the piss out of yourself. In the US, you might say that you're being self-deprecating. When I was younger, I took myself way too seriously. If someone cracked a joke at my expense, I'd take it personally. But I learned, thanks in part to Eminem, that when you laugh at yourself, you disarm everyone around you.
I went to get a new cell phone and I wanted one of those packages where you have the 5, the friends and family thing. The guy was like, "Who are your 5 friends?" And I'm like, I didn't even know.
It shows that you've got confidence and a good sense of humor, and it can come in handy for everything from dating to getting along with colleagues. Rule number 7, give yourself 3 years to reach big goals. You may have heard me refer to this one before as the 3-year rule. We often don't work on our dreams because we're afraid people will talk behind our back, that we'll fail publicly, or that we just aren't good enough. So instead of taking action, we do nothing. We don't switch careers, start that YouTube channel, or learn how to make mid-century furniture. But by following the 3-year rule, you're giving yourself permission to fail for 3 years. It makes falling on your face a little bit more palatable, and it gives you the confidence to find your footing. If over the course of 3 years you don't make any significant gains, despite working your butt off, you have permission to throw in the towel. But I have a hunch that you'll find some progress. Even if you aren't in the top 1% in your field, you'll be surprised at how much growth you can achieve in 3 years by taking small steps each day. Rule number 8, you are responsible for everything. This is a philosophy that can literally transform every aspect of your life. We often come up with excuses when things go wrong. If you miss a deadline, you might blame your client for not communicating properly. If you procrastinate all day, you might blame the YouTube algorithm. If you develop a bad habit of eating junk food, you might blame it on the corporations that get us hooked on these junk foods. But what if you took radical responsibility instead? What would that look like? Well, you might proactively communicate with your client about all deadlines. You might install an app that blocks you from YouTube, and you might not bring junk food into your house to begin with. Rule number 9, never skip a workout 2 days in a row. I made a video a couple years ago called the 2-day rule, and it really seemed to resonate. Since uploading it, I've heard from thousands of subscribers about how this rule has helped them stay active, feel better, and reach their fitness goals quicker. The 2-day rule is simple. It's a promise to yourself that you will not take off 2 days in a row from your fitness habit. And this really can actually apply to any habit. This allows me to take off days as needed, often multiple days a week, but it also keeps the momentum going. And most importantly, it prevents me from falling into a slump and neglecting my health for weeks or months at a time. So I just had a really long full day shoot. I didn't have a chance to go to the gym in the morning, and I skipped yesterday. So that means that according to the 2-day rule, today I have to go to the gym. Of course, there are times when I break this rule, like when I go on vacation, get sick, or just have a really busy week. But I stay committed to this rule more often than not, and it's been an absolute game changer for me. Rule number 10, assume the best in people. You really never know what others are going through, and so you should give grace freely and openly. Who knows? Maybe that person that cut you off might be rushing to the hospital, or the person that flaked on you might have had a family emergency, or the collaborator that dropped the ball might be struggling with anxiety. Why assume the worst in someone when you could assume the best? This doesn't mean that you should let people take advantage of you or that you should be completely naive to the world around you, but creating a positive snap judgment will really help to improve your relationships. And hey, if someone was actually being a dick by cutting you off, at least you didn't let their behavior ruin your day. Those are the 10 rules that changed my life. Let me know down in the comments below if there are any rules that you would add to this list for yourself. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.